because one of the things I'm really interested in is the sun and the moon and how it is within, I guess, what you guys say is a closed system.
Yeah,
I've got some questions here about the dome and about that kind of thing, but long story short,
yeah,
the Earth is on some kind of flat plane, and there's a representation of it here on the screen with
right,
some kind of dome over it.
right.
What I want to know first of all, this is I've got up on a map, and again, this is I've borrowed this from someone else, and they've said I could use it. What
Okay,
you show in here is the center circle is sort of the path of the sun
okay,
during the northern hemisphere summer, and then
yeah,
out on the outside of the green is the path of the sun on the southern hemisphere summer.
right.
And obviously it's obviously got some kind of spiral effect where it goes out further and further and further and then comes back in again. Is
Yep.
that basically what you would accept as the likely scenario?
Yeah, unfortunately, and I'm glad you brought it up because most people don't. It really surprised me because every once in a while, like 1 out of 20 people ask me, they'll say, "What's the weakest part, in your opinion, of the flat Earth?" And I go, "It's the Antarctic sun." I go, "The Antarctic sun cannot exist the way in any sort of conventional means because the Arctic sun, that's easy. You just close circle around the center. But the Antarctic sun, you can't get 24 hours of sunlight
Correct.
with just one light source. It
So
can't be.
that's one of my questions.
Oh
Shortly,
yeah, 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 no. I mean, there's something else going on out there that we don't know,
but the
and
first one is going to be what's the reason, what's the force, what's the explanation for why the sun would change its path at all?
at all.
Yeah, like what causes the sun to change its path to be obviously in a very tight circle in the middle, which would be your northern hemisphere summer, to a
Right.
very very wide spiral.
What the mechanical means of
Yeah,
doing such a thing?
what's your explanation for how it does that? Because the globe people have an explanation for that.
Oh, of course.
You obviously
Of course.
disagree with that. So what's your explanation for it?
Well, you're old enough to remember. Hopefully, you're old enough to remember vinyl. A needle on a record player, and that is, the needle as the song progresses goes in, and if you reversed it, if you had reverse on one of those old turntables, you could make it go out.
Not a particularly scientific response, was it?
No, no, but but people get it. It's like, oh yeah, I've used that analogy tons of times. Remember, I'm supposed to, be talking. The reason why this stuff has done as well as it has is because we have figured out a way to explain the world that's easier than the solar system model. And I know you're going to come back and say, well, that's just because it's easier doesn't mean it's right. I said, no. Oh,
Okay,
hey,
let me ask you this specific question because I find this to be incredibly difficult. This one part of it.
sure.
If let's just say the inner let's just say that the sun is right on this inner red ring at this
Yeah,
time of year, whatever time of year that is.
yeah,
One full rotation of this would be one day,
yeah.
right? And let's say
Right.
in winter time,
You're right. I know where you're going. It'd have to speed up or slow down.
yeah,
Yeah.
why? So that means that the sun is traveling more quickly in the southern hemisphere summer than it is in the northern hemisphere summer because it's got a much bigger circumference to go around. Yet we don't observe that in the sky. We don't observe the sun traveling any more quickly. People who've lived in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, they don't go, oh crap, that's going a lot more slowly. Or in the winter, we don't observe the sun traveling across our sky far, far, far slower.
Right.
We may see it for shorter time periods, but it still travels at the same speed than it is in the summertime. How do you explain
Oh,
that?
don't. I have no idea. I mean, there's a speed issue as well. And by the way, thank you for using Rob Skiba's model. I know this one. The animation is fun on it.
Yeah,
And
he's a debunker, but there's actually very few things out there that would allow me to ask the question. So I'm not using this because I'm supporting what he's saying
oh
necessarily.
no 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 no. I know. People steal from his stuff all the time because he loves making graphics.
I didn't actually steal. I actually contacted him, asked him. He said, "Go for
You
it."
know, you didn't have to, by the way.
I'm a polite.
You didn't have to. You don't have to ask any of our guys. You can. Most of the people don't even throw copyright strikes, as far as I know. I've never even seen a flat earth copyright strike anybody.
So when I say to you that these are the questions I need answered for me to be able to come on board,
Yep.
the sun would have to. I don't know what it would be, whether it would be double or triple in speed based on the circumference.
Yeah, maybe.
You're saying you can't answer that question.
Can't answer that question.